Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. On today's show, I'm welcoming Jill Santos. She is the Executive Director of the Ventura Fire Safety Council here in Ventura County. Welcome to the show, Jill. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This is great. It's good to see you again, too.
Very good. Yes. I'd like you to tell us more about the Ventura Fire Safety Council and what you do for residents here in Ventura County.
Certainly. Well, I came on board to the Fire Safe Council in June. I'm honored to be a part of such a vibrant, growing community of stakeholders that are working to make our region safer from wildfires, essentially. So the Fire Safe Council here in Ventura started by a group of volunteer landowners, business owners, retired firefighters back in 2009.
Okay.
They incorporated as a 501c3 nonprofit in 2010. And now we have an active board of 9 board members, some advisory committee members, and a staff of 8. Our organization just exploded just recently.
Okay.
So our primary role as a Fire Safe Council is to inform, educate, and empower residents so that they can take actions that will protect their homes and subsequently our region from wildfire. We collaborate and plan at the county level, and we also coordinate different kind of fuel mitigation efforts. And so there's a lot of programs, and we can talk all about them as we dive into it.
Very good. Tell us what the Community Wildfire Protection Plan is and why we need to know more about it.
It is a mouthful,
yes.
Isn't it? So these plans help us identify federal and state funding, and they identify priority risks and needs for preparation, response, and recovery. Now, they're a little bit different. They're a foundational document, and they're meant to be living. And the other big part of it is it's not like a regular general plan or like fuel mitigation plan.
Right.
It's really, we're trying to get a diverse input from our community. For example, like residents in a neighborhood will know where there's a pinch point, maybe in egress and access routes in their community that the rest of us planners aren't aware of. Okay. So the plans are now up on our website, local plans, local community plans, and we're going to release the countywide one later this year. And we encourage the public to just take a look at them and make sure that we're, addressing all the needs, and we want to make sure that all the voices are heard.
Very good. Fuel mitigation. Let's talk a little bit about that. What are those efforts like, and how does that work in conjunction with what you do?
Certainly. So there's a lot of parts to fuel mitigation. So if you think about it from terms of like the wildland urban interface, or we call it the WUI, or really down to the homeowner level. So we're focused primarily on what we call zone 0, or the property right from the structure out 5 feet. And the fire department's really concerned more with the defensible space, which goes out to the 100 feet zone. And so in that 0 zone, in that zone 0, what we talk about, we bring out trained staff and we start with an assessment. It's called a home hardening assessment, and they're free. And we encourage every resident who lives in the WUI or not, or adjacent to the WUI to contact us to get one. And we essentially walk around the property and offer recommendations based in science, based off of training, that when taken in earnest, these homeowners can actually see we can reduce our structure's vulnerability to wildfire. And when coordinated at the neighborhood level, we can ensure that we're feeling a lot more confident in our community's ability to withstand a wildfire.
Okay. So home hardening, let's get into that. What exactly is that? I know it's a phrase, but we would like to know a little bit more of what it entails.
Certainly. And it was a new phrase for me when I first started working here.
Right.
Essentially, what home hardening is referring to is what kind of actions that a property owner can do to reduce their ignitability. So there's new science emerging that's saying that the ember casts that come at the head front of many of these big wildfires are actually the major problem. And then if an ember can take hold in and around a structure, there's a 90% chance that structure will go. And if a home is not hardened, or one is hardened and the next one isn't, then that's how the whole community gets threatened, right? So these home hardening assessments, again, they're free. We have trained staff that will come out and they'll walk around the property and they give you a list of recommendations that are from little to effort to just, moving things out of that zone 0 all the way up to more extensive, like siding issues and fencing and things like that. And we're just providing the recommendations at this point. then what happens is the homeowner is instructed to try to take these mitigation measures in earnest.
Okay.
And then there is some good news that's coming out of that if the homeowners are able to do this. Do you want to talk about the insurance news?
I know that there's some insurance benefits there, and I think people would be very inclined to know more about that, because once the home hardening is in place, there might be some chance to hopefully reduce your insurance benefits.
Certainly, and that's where we're so excited to share this information.
Right.
So recently, the Office of Insurance out of the state,
right.
Ricardo Lara's office, was able to put through legislation that essentially is it's insurance pricing regulation that's going to recognize and reward wildfire safety and mitigation efforts that are made by homeowners.
Right.
And so when that means reward, that means, there's no more canceling, there's a moratorium on canceling these policies or on increasing rates. And also there's a potential, now there's not 100%, but there's a potential that if these efforts are made, these mitigation efforts are made, we might even see reductions.
So you'll have benefits in place, but yet your premium might come down if there's a chance in the future. I mean, that's always something that people would want to know if that could happen. And certainly the moratorium right now is that, from what I understand, insurance companies cannot cancel your coverage or raise the rates on a dwelling. Is that correct?
Yes. That's the moratorium. And then where we're moving. So this is the first in the state, I think and it's called Safer from Wildfire Framework. First in the nation, actually. First in the nation.
Right.
And so we're moving towards trying to get communities to look at these nationally recognized programs. One of them that we're looking at in particular is called FireWise. It comes out of the National Fire Prevention Association, and it's being identified by the insurance companies as a way to go. So it starts with the home, the individual. They work on their properties. We're trying to get their neighbors and their communities to do their work. Eventually, whole sections of neighborhoods, and that's where we're getting. So they're showing that these mitigation efforts, and we're talking about things as like trimming up the lowest 6 inches of your shrubbery in and around your house, and maybe potentially looking at removing certain ladder fuels or fuel loads, vines and certain things like that. Essentially cleaning out your gutters and making sure that the overhanging tree branches are not there. Now, here's another piece to this, Sandra. So there are folks, obviously, who maybe can't afford to do a lot of these measures, or they can't physically do the work, right? So that's another piece that we're really trying to work with our stakeholders on, is identifying funding for maybe fixed income or low income, and maybe doing a subsidy program. So we're piloting a few options with some different funders right now to really look at how can we scale this up? How can we get to that North Star of a fire-wise, a fire-safe, a fire-adapted community?
Right, which is, that's the whole idea, is to reduce the threat of wildfire. That's a big concern for everybody. And certainly, as you mentioned, if it's just small things around the home that can be done to make a difference, hey, that's something we're all in agreement on, that would be a good thing to do.
Yes. And we've been at meetings with, firefighting personnel, and I think what I'm hearing around is all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck right now. So it's all of us in here making our community safer.
So for those of us who are homeowners, would it be any cost involved for any of this that you're mentioning?
No, not at this time. The assessment is free, obviously. So we're, as I mentioned, we're a nonprofit. So we're funded through private donations and grants. And so we've been getting a lot of state and federal grants to help with this effort. And so, yes, the home hardening assessment is free. If you contact a Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council, we have 3 trained wildfire safety liaisons that spread their efforts throughout the county. So yeah, those are free.
Very good. So how about if you could share the website and phone and all that good information for viewers to get additional information on where they could go to for what you do?
Certainly. And if I may, I'm going to list a few call to actions that folks can take. So these are simple things that I hope that listeners will take from this interview is that please request an assessment and go out and talk to your neighbors, meet your neighbors and talk to them about emergencies, right? Learn about what's going on right in your street. I encourage you to visit Ready, Set, Go, which is a website developed by Ventura County Fire Department, and it has a ton of resources. We also are working with the Ventura County Resource Conservation District in a thing called a wildfire collaborative, which is a lot of stakeholders together, all the jurisdictions. So town halls will be coming to a jurisdiction near you throughout 2023 and moving forward. And like I said, this FireWise designation, if homeowner associations or neighborhood groups want to really talk about that, they should contact our office as well. And then the last thing I'll mention is that we are doing a community friend raiser event in November. It'll be on November 17th at 4 Bricks Winery in Ventura. So if you're interested in joining our efforts, we have a save the date out, but we don't have a registration yet, but you'll have to RSVP for that. So everything can be found on VenturaFireSafe.org.
Very good.
VenturaFireSafe.org. You can sign up for a home hardening assessment. You can find out when a workshop. We actually do lots of community workshops. And you can also find out about those community wildfire protection plans. Everything is on our website. And we encourage residents to get involved and get aware and get prepared.
Great information. Hope everyone will take a look at what is being offered to homeowners. I'd like to thank you, Jill Santos, for being a part of the show and sharing such good information with everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Very good. And thank all of you for joining us today on Our Ventura TV. I'll see you next time. I'm Sandra Siepak. Bye, everyone.